Under 6.5. Totri, just laugh with me for a little bit.
Happy Friday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils Show. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by Leche Larry. Of course, we got the Wooly Woolbracht behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Russell, Z-Man, Jeff, Cactus, Johnny here in the chat, ready to talk some Sun Devil football. Rubus, give yourself a round of applause, man. You made it to Friday. Love that for you. Love that. Love that for you. Oh my goodness. I can already tell today is just gonna be, it's gonna be one of those shows, man.
When is it not?
It's gonna be, oh man, it's gonna be off the rails. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be, you know, maybe filled with a little anger, because to kick off today's show, we're going to talk about an unnamed sportsbook that has decided to list the 2026 win totals for the Big 12. Arizona State, what would you expect Arizona State's win total to be set at?
3.5. It is.
So I'm going to ask you again. What would you expect Arizona State's win total to be set at?
I'd probably have it at 8.5.
Feels fair, right? Given their schedule.
Yeah, given their schedule, given, you know, if I'm a sports book, right? If I'm not like an ASU person, if I'm a sports book, I'm probably putting that line at 8.5.
Okay. The teams that currently have 8.5 as their win total in the Big 12 are BYU and Utah. Those teams both have 8.5. Say that one more time.
Are those the top two? I'm assuming Tech is probably above.
Tech is the top team at 11.5. Yeah, incredible. Below BYU and Utah at 8.5, you have Arizona, Houston, and Kansas State at 7.5. Yeah. Arizona, Houston, and Kansas State. Below those three is where you find Arizona State at 6.5, tied with Baylor, TCU, and Oklahoma State. 6.5 wins. Below those four, you have Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas, UCF, and West Virginia at 5.5. And the team with the lowest win total in the Big 12 for 2026 is the Colorado Buffaloes at 4.5.
Well, that's stupid.
Which part exactly?
I mean, all of it. I mean, everything related to Arizona State. Look, I understand that maybe on paper, this Arizona State team lost a lot of talent, right? You lost Sam Levitt, you lost Raleek, you know, you lost a couple other guys in the transfer portal, lost a lot of guys to the draft. I totally understand. But like, you're telling me a team that got 2 of the top 5 wide receivers in the transfer portal, the top linebacker in the transfer portal, and a bunch of other great transfers plus a lot of returning talent is going to be what, the 7th best team in the Big 12, the 8th best team?
If all of those teams finished ahead of Arizona State, then yeah, the Sun Devils would finish 7th in the conference. Assuming that none of the other teams had, you know, done anything better, including Baylor, Oklahoma State, and TCU, also at 6.5.
And that's the thing is, like, look, I would set the line at 8.5, right? That's just personally what I would do, and we can go through the schedule here in a second and kind of look at where these wins might be able to come from. But I'm shocked that 6.5 is the number they settled on and not 7. I mean, that's barely bowl eligible, man. Like,
Yeah,
think about the raw deal they got handed this year. Think about the tough schedule that they had this year because they did have a ridiculously hard schedule dealing with injuries. Like Sam Levitt wasn't playing a majority of this season as well, right?
they still
Like,
won 8 games.
and they still won 8 games, right? And they probably should have won 9 with how that bowl game was going. And so I I am shocked. I mean, it's very funny the amount of people are going out there and just like putting money on it now too. I can't imagine the line stays like that, right? Like they can change this, right?
Yeah,
Or they
they
can
can
keep
change it for
locked in.
sure.
Yeah. How long until it's at least up to 7.5?
I think it'll be 7. I think it'll probably be 7 or 7.5 by kickoff by the time they start the season.
I think
If it
it's
stays at
7.5 by
6.5, like I don't
Monday.
bet. I don't bet. I don't bet. If this is what the line is starting the season, I'm coming out of retirement. Like you have to, right? Like you just send the memo like Jordan did. I'm back, right? Because this is laughable. The Arizona State Sun Devils, you're telling me you're setting their win total in 2026 at 6.5. Like you said, they get 2 of the top 5 receivers in the transfer portal, one of the top available defensive players in Owen Long, who led the NCAA in tackles last season. You have young up-and-comers. You retain the majority of your staff. Kenny Dillingham, since being at Arizona State, hasn't had a season with less than 8 wins than his first year. Since he's been able to bring in his own guys, a full roster of just his guys, they've been bowling. They've had 8 wins. They won a conference championship. And you're telling me that same team, same coaching staff is 6.5? 6.5, and the under is the favorite.
And so that's, and the under is the favorite, which is all, again, also crazy. Here's the thing. Also about all these players and the transfer portal and everything we're talking about, like that's important. They deserve their credit. They're good players. It's a better roster than 6.5 just on paper, right? The reason why this is ridiculous is because of Kenny Dillingham and his staff. That is the reason why this is ridiculous. Because if you're talking about losing talent, if you're talking about, injuries or anything of that nature, you saw what felt like a worst case scenario last season. That's what it felt like. And they had 8 wins. Probably should have had 9 wins. Put up the most yards in Sun Bowl history and should have won that game.
With Jeffrey Sims.
Right. And the thing is, like, maybe you don't have a guy that the books imagine to be Sam Levitt, right? Well, Sam Levitt barely played last season, and if we're being honest between each other, like, there were some times where Sam Levitt was not playing like Sam Levitt was supposed to play. Does that mean that he's a bad player? No. But if we're just looking at last season in a vacuum, Arizona State did not have elite quarterback play for a vast majority of the season. Even when they had specific games where their quarterback play was elite, it came either wildly from Jeff Sims, right? Which, again, coaching. And yes, Sims is good, but like, let's be honest here. Like, that was a lot on the coaching staff and the game plan they had for him. Or like, it was greatness in moments, right? It was Sam Levitt making crazy plays to Jordan Tyson and rolling out of the pocket, but then it's like 3 plays later, like missing a dude right over the middle for 7 yards. And so to assume that this team will not only be worse than last year, but the odds-on favorites to be at least a couple of games worse, to barely sneak into a bowl game with a guy that it works magic as a coach who was being recruited by Michigan and all these other big programs to go leave Arizona State to go coach over there, and with an influx of talent, right? That's what makes this ridiculous. And with an influx of talent, and with a complete coaching staff that's remaining from last year, and with a bunch of talent that's remaining from last year too. Like, yeah, you lost some high-end guys in the portal for sure, but you didn't get completely decimated in the portal by any means.
In 2023, they won, 3 games? They won half this number with Jaden Rashada, who has been, getting passed around by schools left and right every year. Jacob Conover, the worst quarterback I've ever seen at this level. Drew Pine, also one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen at this level. And Trenton Bourget. They still won 3 games.
And they should have won more. Like, they were on the precipice of winning more, right? Like, it was
They almost beat Washington, who was in the national championship game.
Yeah. And that's the thing is Totri, we'll go through the schedule here in a bit, and there are going to be games that on paper it's like, oh well, ASU probably shouldn't win that game, right?
There's
I'll be
also games
damned
on
if
paper that we will say they should probably lose that game.
well, it's like I'll be damned if Arizona State doesn't pull out a win they're not supposed to this year. Like
For
that's
sure.
just what they do.
They beat Tech last year. Nobody in the regular season did that.
Nope. They beat Iowa State on the road with Jeff Sims.
Yeah,
Jeff
they
Sims'
did.
his jersey is in the damn Hall of Fame for Arizona State because of how much ass kicking he put on them that day.
Man, that's why Matt Campbell left, man. He just couldn't take any more Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State. It was just too much for him. Too much for him, so he opted to go to Penn State. You look at the schedule. Let's find 7 wins.
Okay, let's do it.
Morgan State.
That's a loss.
Yeah. At home to open the year.
Yeah, I mean that one, when you run into a buzzsaw, you run into a buzzsaw, right? Like it's unfortunate that that's your first game where you pretty much chalk it up as an L and you move on. So yeah, I got him starting 0-1. Oh, sorry, I'm just pretending to be the sports book. Yeah, no, it's a win.
At A&M week 2.
So here's the thing: they're not supposed to win this game.
Absolutely not.
Totri, they're winning this game.
This is the one you're picking that they win.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
I will say this up until the day that it happens. They are winning this game.
Okay.
They are not supposed to win this game.
They're not supposed to win this game. And let's just, again, let's side with the books here. Let's not be ASU biased. Let's not read into it at all. A&M can win that game. We're just trying to find 7.
Let's go 1-1.
1-1. In London to play Kansas.
Win.
Kansas sucks. They're not going to be good this year. That's 2. 2 of the 7.
Yeah,
okay? Then you have a full bye week. Then you're back at home against the Baylor Bears.
I mean, they improved, but Dave Aranda's an awful coach.
Did they? Did they improve? They lost Sawyer Robertson, who was easily the best quarterback that Dave Aranda's had in a God knows how long.
I guess you've got some potential at quarterback there now.
You beat them last year.
I mean, I think that's a win. I
do too. I don't think it's crazy to say that they beat Baylor.
No,
no. At all. Okay? Baylor, same win total as Arizona State here at 6.5. That's 3 wins. Okay? That's 3 wins, and we just started October.
Oh, we're halfway there.
Then the following Saturday in Tempe, Hawaii comes to town.
So that's a win.
That is also a win. That's 4. It's October 10th. At Texas Tech the following week.
We'll give them a loss.
Sure, we'll give them a loss. After that, back at home, Kansas State, a team that surprisingly has a higher win total than Arizona State here.
Yeah, I don't get that. First year head coach, kind of a program in flux. I mean, I don't think they're going to be
another year of Avery Johnson.
And you said that's at home, right?
That is at ASU.
Yeah, that's a win. Okay, so it's 5-2.
5-2. Then at BYU on Halloween. Sure.
You know what? We'll call it a loss.
Sure.
I don't want to call it a loss, but we'll call it a loss.
I think they win one of the games against A&M, Tech, or BYU. But again, we'll side with the books here. So what? 5 wins right now?
5-3.
Then you're at home against the Buffs, the team with the lowest total.
So that's 6-3.
That's a win. Then your last 3 games, UCF, Oklahoma State, Arizona. 2 of those games at UCF, at Arizona, home against Oak State.
So Oak State's going to be improved. New coach, good quarterback. Like, they're basically just going to be North Texas. But
yeah, you're playing North Texas at home.
Yeah. I would take them over Oak State. I'd take them over UCF. And I would take them over Arizona. I would take them
to win all 3 of those games.
But let's say they just go 2. Let's just say they go 2. Right?
Boom.
Is that not 8 wins?
That's 8 wins.
If they go 2-1 over those, that's 8 wins. And that's conservative. That's them not picking up a win over A&M, over Tech, over BYU, and losing 1 game to one of Oklahoma State, UCF, and Arizona. Which is that feels like, okay, at least one of those things won't happen.
That's 8 wins. Let's say they drop 2 of them. There's still 7. There's the over.
Yeah.
You're telling me this team doesn't have free wins littered all over the schedule? Hawaii, Morgan State. I'm sorry if you went to those schools, but congrats. Your team's going to come here and collect a check. They're going to
Yeah.
leave with a spanking, a handprint, a Kenny Dillingham-sized handprint on their ass when they go back to wherever the fuck Morgan State is in Hawaii. Okay? That's what's going to happen. That's 2. Baylor sucks. Kansas sucks. Kansas State's an unknown. There's 3 more. That's 5. You're telling me the UCF Knights are going to win this game? Tell me Brent Brennan and the Arizona Wildcats are going to win this game? I'm not taking it, man. I don't buy it. And I know there's the whole U of A, blah, 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 blah. U of A having a win total of 8.5 is ludicrous. It is, or 7.5. 7.5 is ludicrous. Shouldn't happen, man. Shouldn't happen. 6.5 is embarrassing. It is laughable that the sports book thinks 6.5 is what it should be.
Green M&M says, I genuinely don't know anything about sports betting. Why is this so controversial or laughable? Genuinely asking. It's not necessarily about the betting aspect of it. It's just more about, like, if you had to predict how many games ASU wins. And Green M&M, I know sometimes you could be maybe in your mind a realist, maybe in other people's minds a little bit negative, and I think that's okay. Like, do you think Arizona State wins less than 7 games this year? Do you think they win less than 6.5? Because that's what the betting odds favor.
Yeah, the betting odds say that Arizona State is going to be barely bowl eligible.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I don't.
And that's the thing is, like, in football season's unpredictable, right? So there will probably be some of these games that we chalk up as a win that maybe are closer, right? And then there are other games that maybe think ASU doesn't have a chance that they're going to end up winning. Like, that's how the season goes. It's how it went last year. It's how it's going to go this year. And, like, to me, it's very funny that they're not getting any sort of benefit of the doubt. And you know what, man? That's fine. It's fine. Make some money off of it. But then also, Totri, like, at the end of the day, this team thrives when they're not the favorites. This team thrives when there is disrespect for them. Like, that's just kind of their identity. And so, thank you, unnamed sportsbook number 4, for giving us bulletin board material.
Yeah.
Giving O'Marion Miller and Reed Harris bulletin board material. Thank you.
Maver says they return, 4 starters? They play at A&M, play Texas Tech again, and have an international game. 6.5 seems about right. That's assuming they look like, sure, you could take the A&M and Tech losses. Also, they're playing at Wembley, and it's not like they're playing any team worth a damn. They're playing the Kansas Jayhawks in football.
Who are also traveling.
Who are horrible. When has Kansas been good at anything other than basketball? Since Arizona State has been in this conference, Kansas hasn't sniffed Arizona State. Not once. They haven't even been in the same damn conversation. And you're telling me all of a sudden we're going over the pond and all of a sudden the Jayhawks are going to be able to hang around? Sorry, I don't buy it. Like, doesn't make any semblance of sense to me. But sure, go make some money. I don't usually offer betting advice. This feels like free money.
Yeah.
It feels like free money. That's all I'm saying. Is the sports books could be laying an Easter egg here. A sack of money right in front of your face titled Arizona State's over on wins. Because 6.5 is embarrassing. Embarrassing. If I owned said sports book, I would go and I would tell them to rewrite the damn program that spit out 6.5 for Arizona State. The dweeb behind the Mac that figured out that 6.5 was the way to go, I would have him write 6.5 is not good enough for Arizona State 1,000 times on a chalkboard. Because Hawaii, Morgan State, Kansas, UCF, Baylor, and Kansas State at minimum smells great to me. Yeah. All those just bum schools, it smells great. Smells like a free hit to me. But what do I know?
Well, and the thing is, too, like, you know, need down says usually the books are pretty good, which is right. Like, the books are usually normally, but still there's every once in a while that you're just like, what's going on here? When I saw your tweet that Arizona State's over under 6.5, I audibly laughed out loud. I was confused. I thought you were joking. I was like, who hacked Anthony Totri? Is he going to tweet about crypto and buying a new car anytime soon? Because this can't be true.
Vote for my podcast.
Yeah. Green M&M says, my guess is that the books really value Sam Levitt, which I would say, yeah, they probably really value Sam and Raleek, but what they don't value is Sean Aguano's ability to get 1,000-yard running back out of me, right? Or out of anybody that's in that room. What they don't value is Kenny Dillingham and Marcus Arroyo's ability to help mold a quarterback, and a quarterback in Cutter Boley that by all means was not set up for success in Kentucky and will be much better set up for success here at Arizona State. What they should absolutely value is the fact that Reed Harris and Omarion Miller are here, right? Like that should be like, okay, first of all, just on the surface, why are they coming here for a 6.5 win season, right? They're not. They're not. They're just not doing that. Oh, how about LSU transfer in the secondary? How about all conference USA transfer in the secondary? How about Owen Long? How about a couple Power 5 defensive linemen here? How about CJ Fight and Clayton Smith returning, right? Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are leaving. There's a lot of guys that are going to the draft, and there's a lot of guys that transfer. Yeah, I get that. But why are half of them going to the draft and why are the other half going to Texas and to LSU to get big bags and get money? Why is that happening? Because when they come here, they're really good. When
Yeah.
they come here, they're well coached. And when they come here, there are results that follow that. We always said it's going to take some time for people to catch up, Totri. And we kind of thought that people maybe would have already caught up by now, considering what's happened. But I do think that this past season, that a lot of people would consider disappointing, and I think on paper, when you don't look at the context, I would agree. I think that has kind of put people back in this mode that they were in before 2024, which was, why would this team be any good? They're Arizona State. They lost this talent. They blah 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 blah, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Do you know what their win total was set at going into the 2024 season?
3.5.
4.5.
My bad.
They went to the college football playoff and beat Iowa State's ass in the Big 12 championship that year.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody, was wondering. Look, let us know. How many games do you think Arizona State is going to win? Do they hit the over? Do they hit the under here? Still a lot to discuss here on the PHNX Sun Devils Show on the other side of our first break.
We like to have fun on PHNX Sun Devils, but sometimes life isn't fun. I'm talking an accident or a serious injury, and yeah, the lawyer you hire after that happens, well, it matters. That's why you got to call Mark and Alexis Breyer. That's the husband and wife law team, and that's the place that's going to bring you hundreds of years of combined trial experience and multiple certified specialists in personal injury and wrongful death. Plus, they're going to bring you guarantees, like guarantees that their practice is 100% dedicated to injury and wrongful death, a guarantee that you can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason, a guarantee that you'll receive at least as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee, even if they reduce their attorney's fee to do so. So take the guarantees, take the correct route, call the husband and wife law team if you've had a serious injury at 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841, or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them that PHNX sent you.
We are now almost a full quarter of the way done with 2026. Crazy to think about. So if your New Year's resolution was to kick off a home renovation project, stop procrastinating and go see our friends over at the Window Depot. Of course, they've been serving the Valley for over 20 years, and although they are the Window Depot, they are far more than just a window store. From windows to doors and cabinets, countertops, they've even got flooring now at some of their Tucson locations. And look, maybe you're not in Tucson, you're here in the Valley, and you are ready for that home renovation project. Well, check them out. They got stores all over the Valley: Phoenix, Tucson, Chandler. The list goes on and on and on. And don't worry, if you need a custom order, they're going to take care of you with that as well. Make sure you visit thewindowdepot.com and get started on your next project today. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Also, if you are not already a PHNX diehard, Erik, now is the time, because we still have damn good deal. We got one damn good deal up there, $36. That's it.
I mean,
limited time intro offer to sign up to become a PHNX diehard.
Take advantage, man. Take advantage of this. $36, get access to the Die Hard Discord, get access to a free t-shirt when you sign up, 20% discount to all of our events, and access to exclusive written content on our website, which we've completely stepped up. All of us that are here hosting are writing articles, whether it's about ASU or the Suns, the Cardinals, or the Diamondbacks. We got you covered at gophnx.com with Die Hard exclusive articles. It's worth it for $80. Ask all of our diehards. They love it. You do like also diehard events in the Discord where you could chat it up and talk about things. You get inside information. Like you knew the name Derek Glasser was connected to the ASU men's basketball job weeks ago. At this point, it's worth it for $80. To get it for $36 is insane. And so go to gophnx.com/intro and go be a diehard.
Erik, we got spring football kicking off next week here in Tempe. It's that time of year. I know there's obviously a lot of draw to see if Molly Miller's squad makes it to the NCAA tournament. So we'll definitely chat a little bit about that when that happens, because they will make the tournament. There's a lot of interest, of course, in men's basketball. Who's going to be coaching the program? I know we spent some time talking about that yesterday. Of course, there's always discussion on social media about Willie Bloomquist and ASU baseball. We dropped an audio-only episode this morning, kind of previewing ASU's series against TCU, which starts today. So go out, go show it up at Muni. But that smell, that football smell is back in the air. So with practices next week, I kind of want to discuss some players, some position battles, some competitions that you're interested in keeping an eye on really over the course of the next month once spring football does indeed get rolling around.
I mean, how could you not be looking at the two positions on offense that are like, okay, this is what's going to make it tick. If this team doesn't hit over 6.5, it's going to be because these two positions don't work out. That's wide receiver and that's quarterback.
Mhm.
Right. And I know that's a very basic thing to say. So I'll let you pick which one we go into because I find them equally fascinating.
Let's start with Omarion Miller and Reed Harris.
Let's do it.
I think those two specifically you're looking at where it is how good are these two at ASU, right? We know what the rankings were. We know what they were able to accomplish at Colorado and Boston College, respectively. But what does this duo look like in the same offense? What can Marcus Arroyo do with these two? What level of improvement do we see in their game, right? Because when Jordan Tyson was here, Jordan Tyson didn't leave Arizona State the same receiver that, he got to Tempe as, right? Somebody that improved over time. And I get it's going to be a smaller sample size, right? Reed Harris, Omarion Miller, they're not going to be here, 3 seasons. But what does one offseason look like? What does one spring ball and one full camp do for Reed Harris and Omarion Miller in their game? And that's without even really mentioning the Raiden Vinesbright addition from Washington, right? How does he elevate his game? Like, I think that the transfer wide receivers are going to be so fun to watch in this offense. Yes, I think a big part of that is quarterback, and I know we'll get into that here in a little bit, but like specifically Omarion and Reed, man, like I am so excited to see these guys firsthand at Arizona State.
I mean, it's fascinating, right? Because they're two incredibly talented wide receivers already, very, very effective. And even if they don't improve, let's just say they continue to stay the same wide receivers that they are, they're still two of the best wide receivers in the country. I think the biggest, most fascinating part about them is how different they are and how well they can play together, right? And not just in size, but in route tree and abilities. Like it is a true pick your poison, but it's like one is a poison that makes you suffocate, the other one is a poison that makes you break out in hives. Like
Mm.
either way, it's a bad time, but they're two completely different things. So it to me, what I would be looking for in spring ball is not necessarily how they look individually. It's kind of like, how are they working together? How are you leveraging the threat of Reed Harris being able to high point a ball over the middle with hitting maybe Omarion Miller in the flat or on a screen and seeing what he can do with the yak, right? Like, how are you going to leverage having the type of speed that Omarion has downfield with maybe just being a possession receiver at certain points for Reed Harris, but like maybe one of the best, if not the best possession receivers in the Big 12? How do those two guys play out of each other? And how does obviously Cutter Boley, Jake Fetty, Mikey Keene, Cam Dyer find a way to get them to ball? What's the split to their targets? But I don't know about you, Totri. It's like I'm excited to watch how they play together, but I think the most fascinating thing about the wide receiver room in spring ball is who's wide receiver 3, right? Because there was not a big exodus of wide receivers despite them bringing in 2 top end receivers and only losing one in Jordan Tyson. Now, I think we'd all agree that Jordan Tyson would be the best player out of those, but clearly Omarion and Reed Harris are very, very good individually too. Who's third? Is it Eusebio? Are they going to use a burner like Jaron Hamilton? Right? Is Jalen Moss going to be the guy that we expected him to be last season, this upcoming season? Is it Harry Hassman, who's more of an underrated name as well? Is it Raiden Vinesbright, right? Who is also somebody who transferred in, who has a lot of potential. Who figures in to be alongside those two guys? Because I'm sure it'll be a rotation, but at the end of the day, somebody has to start.
Yeah, 1000%. I think in terms of Harry, that's a tough one, right? I think somebody who's still coming back from a blown out knee, so that's something that you probably won't see Harry at all in the spring, I would imagine. I'm excited to see the return of Plas Johnson, somebody that didn't play at all last year because he was coming back from a knee injury. So he's a sneaky name to figure into this conversation as well. But yeah, you're right. That wide receiver room loaded with talent, right? The Reed Harris, Omarion Miller, you already know those guys are going to see a lot of action. Raiden Vinesbright, right? Dubbed the speedster coming out of high school, somebody that, never really got to elevate his full potential at Washington. Could he be the guy? Jalen Moss, depending on hey, what if Mikey Keene wins the starting job? Right? What if those two are going back and forth? And we know Jalen Moss, we know what he's certainly capable of doing when he's out there, right? When he's actually healthy and he is on the field. Jaron Hamilton, does he finally take that jump, right? Like Derek Eusebio, somebody that proved to be a consistent threat and a weapon in this Arizona State offense in 2025. Like, yeah, that third wide receiver spot is certainly going to be fascinating. I think to add to that, where does Omarion Miller and Reed Harris line up? Right? Because I think Omarion Miller said just a few weeks ago when we talked to him, like they're going to work with him a little bit more in the slot, right? So does that open up one of those outside perimeter threats to be out there, right? Because if we were talking about a third wide receiver with Omarion and Reed as your traditional X and Z guys outside the numbers, then yeah, you'd probably figure you'd see a Jalen Moss or a Derek Eusebio in the slot, right? But if Reed is on the perimeter, Omarion's inside. Okay, then what do you do on the opposite end? Is this the Jaron Hamilton speedster, or do we finally see him put it all together? Raiden Vinesbright, Plas Johnson, any of those other young guys? The wide receiver room is certainly gonna be fascinating. But as you brought up, whoever's throwing them the ball is gonna be just as interesting. And I know it's going to be the talk of spring football, likely the talk of fall camp if they don't name a quarterback by then. Jake Fetty, Mikey Keene, Cutter Boley, right? Cam Dyer. Those four guys are so interesting. Each one has a different layer to their game. Of course, Cam Dyer, the only one that was on this roster a year ago in this system. So I'm interested to see what these four look like. But of course, Erik, I think despite Dyer being back, despite the addition of Mikey Keene, I think there are a lot of Sun Devil fans that are really, really interested in two of those guys, Cutter Boley from Kentucky, Jake Fetty, El Paso from El Paso.
Yeah, I think those are guys that I'm very excited to dive into, Totri, but we're going to do it. I'm sorry to do this to you on the other side of this break. I think it's pretty clear by now. I love my Shady Rays. I need my Shady Rays. And we all know that moment in life when you realize you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach or on the roof of your car, at a gas station 3 states away, and well, I've been there too. Then I found Shady Rays though, and it changed the game. These are sunglasses made for real life, seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. But here's the thing. Here's the wild part. If you lose or break your sunglasses, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now I can wear my sunglasses without fear, and I wear them all the time without fear. On hikes, at concerts, on a boat, or hosting a podcast, really wherever. Shady Rays is the eyewear that has your back. And right now you can go to shadyrays.com, use code PHNXSR for 40% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's PHNXSR for 40% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses.
Be proud of yourself. You made it through the week. Today is Friday. That's right. We are officially ready for the weekend. And what better way to start the weekend than with our friends over at Pure Edibles. And look, they have changed the way that I personally think about gummies. I was so accustomed to those gummies that they have kind of a bad taste. You don't necessarily know how many you have to take to actually get a solid impact. That's not the case with Pure Edibles. Starting off with the fact that they're a full-fledged candy company and they're offering a bunch of different tasting gummies just for you. Of course, there's gummies, there's Kicks, which are their version of Starburst Chews, soft candies like caramel, and then hard candies as well. And as it relates to the effects, you never have to worry if you're taking one, if you're taking two, and you don't know exactly what effect you're going to get because Pure, they list the effects right there on each tin so you know exactly what effects you guys can expect. And hey, maybe you're somebody that isn't interested in the uplifting effects of Pure Edibles, but you need help sleeping. Well, check out their sleep support gummies as well. I can tell you firsthand, they work, and it's not like when you're taking melatonin and you have some of those really, really weird dreams / nightmares and you wake up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m. Nah, you're sleeping through the night with Pure Edibles sleep support gummies. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Man, a little spring football talk, huh, Totri?
I love it,
Wow,
dude.
look
I
at
feel
us.
at home. I'm
I
I'm
know,
ready
I
to
know.
rock.
We've been talking a lot of basketball recently, and you've been a very brave guy.
I know.
And
I
and
put on
now
my
it's
brave face, my brave beard, which is separate from my unbrave beard,
mm.
to find a way to really squeak through basketball season.
Well, you did it, and now we're here, Totri. And look, part of the reason why we started off this show talking about, okay, over under 6.5, that's what the books think about Arizona State, is because they lost Sam Levitt
Yeah.
in the portal, going to LSU. And who did they bring in? They brought in Cutter Boley. They're getting Jake Fetty, who is going to be a true freshman. And then, like you mentioned, Mikey King, Cam Dyer are two guys that are filling out that quarterback room. But let's start with the two guys that we assume are going to be in that competition in spring. What's the number one thing you're looking for from Cutter Boley or Jake Fetty in spring ball?
I think for me, two separate things, if I'm being honest. I think for Fetty, what I'm looking for is to not be overwhelmed, right? I think that's something that is super easy for young freshman quarterbacks, true freshman quarterbacks to come in at the college level and just kind of get razzled, right? It's a lot going on at once. You got practices, you got meetings, you got workouts, you got rehab, like you got so much to deal with on top of, hey, not only when I'm doing these things, I got to be great at these things, right? Especially if you want to play. So I think for Jake Fetty early on in spring ball to not see him be overwhelmed by the playbook, by the speed of the game. And again, it's not like they're rolling straight into like legit games, but I think that's the biggest thing for me is just composure. Does he look comfortable out there? Because I think if he is early on, that'll be a sign that he's ready for this competition. And if he's not, then I would trend toward this is a more Cutter Boley, Mikey Keene type of discussion, right? So I think that's comfortability is what I'm looking for from Fetty. And I think for Boley, I'm really looking to see that athleticism, right? And again, they're not going to be having defensive linemen chase him and do all these types of things. But like when you go out to practice, you know who's an athlete and you know who's not, right? You saw Sam Levitt, you knew he was an athlete. When Jaden Daniels was at Arizona State, you knew he was an athlete, right? I think that's the same thing that I'm looking for Cutter Boley, and I know he's not the same type of athlete as those two quarterbacks that I mentioned. He doesn't have the speed that those two have, right? Maybe not the elusiveness, but if you're going to be the starting quarterback in a Kenny Dillingham offense, you have to be an athlete, right? And I think there were times at Kentucky that you saw that. I want to see it firsthand at Arizona State. So two completely different things, but I think, again, it will really show who has an edge in this competition early, if this is even going to be a competition, right, at any point in time, because I think we're sitting here early on in March saying, yeah, this is going to be a competition. Are we only saying it's a competition because all three of these four are new guys? Or is this something where you get through the first week of practice and you're like, it's pretty clear who's QB1 here?
I think that you want it to be pretty clear who's QB1 because of how good they are, right? And I think Cutter Boley is certainly the betting favorite. Now, look, I think we're maybe underrating the fact that it might be Mikey Keene and Cutter Boley in a quarterback competition, and Jake Fetty is just like, hey, man, we're going to not sit you, but you're going to be developing this year, and
Yeah.
then you're our guy going into next year. I think that's something that's a very possible thing. I think it's possible that Mikey Keene starts for this team. I don't think it's probable, but I think it's possible. I think with Cutter, the main thing that I'm looking for beyond the athleticism, I consistency, right? Consistency in delivering the ball exactly where it needs to be, a lack of turnovers. Because what's one thing that this quarterback position didn't have this past season, Totri, even when it was healthy?
Even when it was healthy,
Hmm.
any sort of rhythm.
Consistency,
Yeah.
rhythm. Like these are things that it's like you kind of didn't know what you were going to get on any given play. You didn't know when the ball was snapped whether Sam Levitt was going to be like Lamar Jackson or whether Sam Levitt was going to airmail it over somebody 8 yards out.
Yeah.
You
He
didn't
was
know.
either the Lamar Jackson or Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that was it. Right? With Jeff Sims, it was like you're either going to be breaking records or you're going to be breaking your palm cuz it's smacking your forehead so hard. Like it was never just a we're going into this given week and we know exactly what we're going to be getting every single snap at the quarterback position. I want to see from Cutter Boley, who's a young guy, but he started for an SEC team. He's had some success, but by all means, from what we have heard, talking to people who are around that program, like he was not set up for success at all by his offensive coordinator. Are you unlocked not to a sense of that your ceiling is like God tier, but that your floor is way higher? Are
Yeah.
you just a lot more consistent? Because with the weapons around him, as long as he can consistently get them the ball without being the hero, he'll be the starting quarterback.
Yeah. And I think something to point out here too that's interesting, and I know the Green M&M says we already saw Bully's athleticism a little bit already. We did. We did see it a little bit. I said that. But again, I want to see like what he's fully capable of as
He
an
was not
athlete
running the
out
ball
on
that
this
often.
field. No, he
That
wasn't. He
was a
didn't
big
necessarily
complaint.
he's a timing quarterback. He's a quarterback
Yeah.
that 1, 2, let it fly. Right? Which is again, you need to have like that cerebral type of like characteristic to really thrive in this offense, right? And I think for Sam, like Sam wasn't a practice quarterback. Like if we're being completely honest here, Sam showed up on game day and was a baller, right? At certain times. Sam didn't always practice well, right? Sam took chances, Sam missed balls. Like there were things about Sam that solid player, solid quarterback didn't really practice well, if we're being completely honest with you, right? Like I'd come back and I'd from practice and I'd talk with Erik and be like, yeah, Sam didn't look great, right? It was just
Yeah.
kind of something that was like everybody saw out there and didn't really say, okay? Is Cutter Boley that type of guy? And how does it impact the weapons around him, right? Specifically those wide receivers that we were talking about. But there's so much more as it relates to spring football in this Arizona State football team that I think everyone needs to keep an eye on. And I'm super excited to get into it on the other side of our final break.
Hey, Totri, do you like watching TV?
I love watching TV.
Do you love watching big tournaments that happen in the month of March?
That's what I'm wholeheartedly looking forward to March for.
Well, I'm wholeheartedly recommending Sling TV to you as one of the most flexible ways to watch live TV. And with that tournament coming up, Sling TV gives you access to the games and more control over how and where you tune in. Look, Sling has a flexible 1, 3, or 7-day pass options, which means instant access to live TV for the men's and women's tournament. You can get a day pass starting at just $4.99, and Sling is celebrating the chaos that everyone loves around the tournament. They're making it more fun to root for the underdogs this year. If you purchase any pass from Sling and a 12 through 16 seed make it to round of 16 in either the men's or women's tournament, your next day pass is just $1. Get signed up at sling.com/underdog. If an underdog wins, then you win too. Live TV your way. Learn more at sling.com/underdog. No purchase required. To learn more and see the full rules, visit sling.com/underdog.
Look, we've got partners here at PHNX that try and help you save money on the daily. We got partners here at PHNX that give you chances to win money on the daily. But I want to tell you about one of our partners here that's got a place where you can put your money. Of course, we're talking about Mountain America Credit Union, more specifically their My Style checking account, because everybody needs a checking account. Everybody on this show, everybody that is in the chat, you need one, and you want one that's got those built-in perks and benefits, and that's exactly what you're going to get with that My Style checking account. You guys can enjoy restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, identity protection, loan rate discounts, offers on travel, events, and more. Make my style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. And if you're somebody who wants your credit union to support your school, your university, like Arizona State, well, you are in luck, because home of Kenny Dillingham's Arizona State football team, well, it is Mountain America Stadium. Again, make my style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration/activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. I'm sure we're going to spend a lot more of next week getting into spring football before those spring practices actually do begin. So I don't want to take away from those shows too much here, Erik. But we talked quarterback, we talked wide receiver. I think potentially the most fascinating spot to watch is the offensive line.
Yeah.
Watch this unit. A group that, I mean, had potentially a first-round pick in Max Zahanachor on that team, right, a year ago. We'll see what April looks like for Max. But Ben Coleman getting hurt, the emergence of some of the freshmen, right? Yeah, Josh Atkins there. He's gone. Like, what does this completely new offensive line look like? And it's headlined by Jermaine Mitchell, right? Somebody who we talked often during the transfer portal cycle that, wasn't getting enough love because he had signed during signing period, right? So like he had already signed, wasn't really factored into the transfer portal additions. The number one JUCO player in the country who flipped from Georgia to Arizona State. He is a massive left tackle, somebody that I'm excited again to see out there. But really, how does this whole offensive line come together? Because you added a bunch of guys. Does some of the young guys take steps? Does Wade Helton and Makuapule, do they automatically get spots as players who were, contributors on this offensive line a year ago? Like, what does this shuffle kind of look like up front? Because it is going to mean a lot to Arizona State this season, right? And you go to that win total, you go back to last year in some of those games. Why was Arizona State unsuccessful at times? I think you could point to the fact that the offensive line, in terms of consistency, was almost just as inconsistent at times as the quarterback play.
Yeah, I think the good news about this offensive line room is that it's deep. I think the bad news about this offensive line room is that you don't know who's going to be where on the depth chart, most of it. Like, you always want to have guys that can rotate in and out on both lines. Being able to have guys that can come off of your bench, basically come out in your second unit and play well in the offensive line is massively important over a season. There's going to be injuries. A guy can't play every single snap, whatever. Who's the starting center?
Yeah.
Right? Is it Jermaine Mitchell who's starting there? Who's starting opposite of him? Right? Is it Champ's time to go out there and to start? Like, is Jalen Clem going to figure his way back into things and end up starting, which is what a lot of people expected him to do when he was here? Right? A couple of the transfer names as well. Like, you have options, which is awesome. But you want to make sure that your options are not a detriment. Where we're in week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're like, hey, who's starting at right tackle today? Hey, who's your starting center? Not because of injuries, because obviously you can't control that, but it's like, is it Helton at center? Is it the kid from Georgia Tech? Is it somebody else? Like, who do you have out there that's starting every single game with your quarterback so that your quarterback can feel comfortable? What was a big mainstay of that 2024 team? It was Lee Fautanu, who's now back with the team as a coach, but starting at center, right? And then this past season, you had Ben Coleman, who moved around, and he wasn't really in his position that he needed to be, and then he got injured, and now you've got Helton, and you had so many rotating pieces and parts of that offensive line that it was almost a miracle sometimes how they were playing, especially against a team like Texas Tech. Consistency, having the rise and having a unique set of starters that you know are going to start every single game that you can get chemistry with. And then when it's time to make some changes on the line mid-game, you feel confident in the depth, which I do feel confident in. So they got a lot of bodies, which is a good problem to have. I would like to see some legitimate cream rise to the top during spring football.
Yeah, it's going to be wildly important, right? And then I think opposite that, the edge rushers, right, going up against those tackles and that offensive line every single day. Like the lines, the trenches in general are just going to be so important. Not to say that they're not always important, because they are, right? You build championship level teams, inside then out. Like this is a team that it was a question mark at times last year, especially on the offensive line, regardless of having, some talented players in Ben Coleman and Max Ahanachor and some of those other young bucks, which I think, again, some of them showed some really, really good things throughout the season. I think Champ Westbrooks is somebody that showed a lot in that Sun Bowl game. Like you said, is it him and Jalen Clem, competing for that right tackle spot? Is it some of the other players that they were able to bringing in a tackle from Oklahoma, right? Is it the Georgia Tech center? Is he the guy, or is it Wade Helton? Hell, what is Wade Helton's twin brother, Brent Helton? What does he look like out there? He didn't get a play or practice at all last season coming back from injury, right? Jarmaine, for sure, your bookend left tackle, or is it somebody that we don't know yet? Is somebody emerge, right? Where are the guards on this team, right? How does Mekhi Stewart factor in all this? He's a big dude, played guard last season, played it well at times. Does he get a starting spot? Like that for me, quarterback is always interesting. It's especially when you don't know who QB1's going to be. The wide receivers are going to be fun regardless, right? Reed, Omarion, all the other talented players. But the offensive line for me, if we're really talking like rounding out the discussion on the 6.5 wins, right, that was put up there today, like if Arizona State is going to achieve more than that, it starts there, right? Because when you look at Texas Tech and what they were able to do, how many first-round picks, how many draft picks in general did they have on that defensive line, right? How good was that Utah offensive line all year long? Another really talented team last year in this conference. Like, if you want to be a juggernaut in this conference, it's all good and well to have a talented QB. It's super important to have skill guys that can find their way in the end zone and can contribute in big ways. You do it with the offensive and defensive line. And I'm not concerned about the D-line. And not to say I'm concerned about the offensive line. I'm more so just intrigued at what the future might hold for this Arizona State offensive line in 2026.
There are a lot of questions, and I don't say that in a negative way because I do think they have answers. I just need to see what those answers are because I don't
Yeah.
know them yet.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Didn't someone the other day, was it
Shay?
SGA?
Yeah. I have the
I've
answers.
got the
but
answers.
need
I
to
just
see
have to see the
first.
questions.
Insane.
He's a dog.
Broke Wilt's record, by the way, for most consecutive games scoring 20-plus points.
He's a
Should he have
dog.
stopped out of respect?
No. Hit that
People are
like
talking
button.
about it.
Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. It is Friday.
It is.
So you know what that means, Erik?
Yes.
Hot or not?
Yes.
And we have the Wooly Woolbrecht behind the Mac.
Is he going to make us wait 20 minutes?
I don't think
this
so. I
time?
think he's locked and loaded. I think he's ready with a couple topics. For those of you interested in football, we will continue football conversation next week as spring football does begin next week. Super, super excited. The smell of football is in the air. But without further ado, let's get into hot or not, Noah.
All right, let's do it. First topic today, hot or not, karaoke.
Hot. Hot, 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 hot.
And Ruben's got a
Hot.
big old smile on his face.
Hot. Hot.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh. I think it's the one that we performed together.
We performed one hell of a rendition of Kiss Me Through the Phone.
We did. That's definitely a go-to for me. The one it's like, I don't know why. It's a Panic at the Disco song. Have you people ever heard of Closing the Goddamn Door?
Oh.
That one. Yeah.
I Write Sins, Not Tragedies.
Yeah. That one also absolute banger. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, you got to go with the right people who want to like sing, and it helps when you got some drinks in you as well. But like, I mean, if you're doing sober karaoke, I mean, you're brave. You're braver than me, but it's still fun. Like,
It's
okay,
fun.
but I will say this. I like the private room karaoke where you're like with a group of people that like, and you just like pass the microphone around. I'm not a big fan of like the karaoke in front of like random strangers and people.
Like a whole bar.
Yeah, that for me, that's less hot. Like maybe to go watch, that's hot, but like no, if we're gonna do karaoke, give me a private room with a large group of people and some drinks. Great time.
Karaoke's hot. It is really hot. You do need to. I personally need to be drunk. I don't need to be drinking. I need to be drunk to like fully get into it. I'll do it. Like if I'm buzzed, I'll go a little bit here or there. I gotta be like pretty trashed
You and I literally
to
walked
fully
out to
get
our
into
car.
to karaoke. I love karaoke. Like when
Yeah.
I'm in and I'm doing it and we're going, right? It's fun. It's hot. It's hot as hell. Like it's one of those things that it's just like, whoever thought of that very simple thing of like, hey, what if we just put the lyrics on screen,
And
cut
let them
out
sing.
the actual singing, and we just had everybody else do it. Brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. Noah, what do you think?
Very hot.
Very hot.
Very hot. I've only done it twice, but hot.
What's your karaoke song?
The first one was like, first time I did it was like 5 or 6 years ago. Don't remember what it was at all. But the other one I did was like a couple weekends ago with the Deli Man.
Wow.
And I did Limelight by Rush, but that was just the song that I listened to on the way there. And I got in there and he's like, write down a song. And I just wrote it down and I did it.
So
we weren't invited to this.
Totri, yeah, what I'm hearing is they had a great time and we're just now hearing about it now.
I invited myself.
And
That's
that
what
you
they
should have invited us after you invited yourself.
It was a little late.
Cactus Johnny, 10 beers deep or not happening.
You know who doesn't? The surprising person
Shane.
in the office who thinks it's not hot.
Is it Shane?
Kevin. Kevin told me today that he despises karaoke.
Wow. Despises.
Yes.
Kevin doesn't despise anything.
He loves everything. He's
No.
literally like the definition of neutral.
No, he's got some crazy takes on things.
Yeah, karaoke being horrible is I guess one of them. Jeez. That's crazy. Let us know in the chat if you guys like karaoke. What do we got for topic number 2, Noah?
All right, hot or not?
Not getting invited to things.
Going to a university or a college that has like a decent sports program or like, D1, D2, but being a fan, like a bigger fan of a different school. So like, let's say you go to like NAU or something like that, and you're like, all I do is rep Sun Devils.
Are you just too stupid to get in to the other school? Is that what it is?
No.
No, you didn't apply?
I don't know. Just
Okay.
I'd say
My question is why?
I went to a like school in Michigan,
Yeah.
Central Michigan, but a lot of people I went to school with, they're like, I love Michigan football, love Michigan
So
State.
my question is why? Again, like why do you love Michigan football?
They just grew up with it, I guess.
I mean, I guess it's different. I think it's more like certain things are acceptable, certain things are not. If you go to NAU and you say I'm a Michigan Wolverine, no, you're not. Right? Like it's just you're literally a lumberjack. That's where you go. That's like it's what it is. This is not like pro sports where it's like I can kind of get away with rooting for a team because my dad did it or because, I grew up in this area. Like you went to this school. That's who you should support.
I agree.
Everything else is just kind of like why are we doing it?
I mean,
right?
Ayrton went to ASU, but he's an Ohio State fan.
Yeah, see that doesn't
Yeah.
No, you went to Arizona State. I don't care if your dad went to Ohio State. Like you're a Sun Devil. That's where you went to school. That's the team that you should support.
Agreed. Not hot.
Agreed.
Not hot. We're all in agreement it's not hot there?
Yes.
All right, bring us home.
All right. Third topic. Fake plants.
Hot.
Yeah. Super hot. Hotter than real plants. I mean, yeah, you got one behind you.
I got a lot over here.
Yeah, I think I have probably like 5 or 6 fake plants in my apartment.
I got a fake plant here.
Yeah.
Not
hot?
Not.
Noah says not hot.
You're a lame loser, Noah.
No, Noah strikes me as like a real plant guy.
Oh, for sure.
Nothing wrong with real plants.
Yeah,
but
nobody's
fake
saying
plants are
real
better.
plants aren't hot.
Regular plants are hot, Noah, but not as hot as fake plants.
Nah.
Why? What's the discrepancy there?
They're posers. They're straight up posers.
Yeah, but they pose well. Like you could be a poser and be good at posing. Like there's how many Michael Jackson interpreters or like lookalikes in Vegas?
But
right? Some of them are good. Some of them are good posers.
Ruby's cactus right there. I've never seen a real cactus that looks like that at that size.
That's fine, but you've seen these other plants around me. I just got the cactus because I'm an Arizona sports guy. Like the other plants around me, sometimes you can't even tell. Also, I will say this. There's one thing about fake plants that's not hot. They're expensive.
Where the hell are
cost-
you buying fake plants,
They
dog?
fake plants in general cost a decent amount of money.
I got 4 for $20 at Target.
Do you have to like? Do you have to like dust off fake plants?
I
You have
don't
to
know.
clean
I
them?
guess depends on how dirty you are and
Yeah.
how you're living.
You get your fake plants dirty, man?
No, but I keep my windows open. It gets a little dusty
A
in
little
my
dusty
place.
there. The green M. Wow, I can't speak. I'm having a stroke. The green M&M fake plants are cool when it's not an overwhelming amount in the house. That's fair. That is fair. I get it. Sharon doesn't have any plants in the house. I like fake plants. Rubus likes fake plants. Noah hates anything that's not real, which I can respect. And that's going to do it. That's going to do it for today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils Show. We appreciate everybody hopping in today, listening live, watching after the fact, or listening on audio. You guys are all awesome. I hope you all have a great weekend. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, and drop 5-star review on your way out. If you want to follow the show, you can do so on social at PHNX_Sun Devils on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow Cactus Jack there at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow the Wooly Woolbrecht nowhere. He doesn't want you to follow him, so leave him alone. And we will be back on Monday. In the meantime, go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.